Today I'm going to talk about agents. Um, as in, when you're a writer and you try to get an agent in order to represent your work. When my career first started out, we're talking decades ago, I had published my first book by sending directly to a publisher, which is something you basically just can't do anymore. But my first book was called Innocent Until Proven Guilty, which was a mystery suspense, more suspense than mystery. Anyway, never really did like the cover. It took me a while to even figure out there was a guy running through a courtroom. But anyway, that was the cover of that book. So having that behind me and a whole bunch of short stories that I had actually published, I decided to get myself an agent. And the way you would get one back then, and I think it's still pretty much the same way today, is you sent out query letters to, basically every agent that, could possibly represent you. There are all sorts of really, ridiculous rules like, you could only send to one agent at a time. If you sent to a whole bunch of them, there was the thought that they'd be talking amongst each others and amongst each other, and then basically because of that, they might turn you down just because you breached the etiquette of kind of how that goes. So at this time, like I said, I had sent out query letters to one agent after another, and finally I was just getting a little annoyed, so I sent it to basically the agent that represented Stephen King, thinking, I'll be just like Stephen King. Right, like that would ever actually happen. So I sent it to his agent, or to the agency that represents him, or represented him at the time, and so I got this personal letter back from them, from actually one of the main agents there, saying he liked the idea of what I was writing, but had so many different clients that he was representing that there was no way that he'd even have a chance to even entertain me. And so what he did say is, I know another agent. Her name is Risha. I won't give her last name, but you can probably find her if you're really looking for her. And she might want to look at some of your work. And so personally, I thought this was the way that the big guys basically, turned you down. Like this was their form letter of rejection, by this sort of process. And I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll never get another one like that, but that was kind of nice. And about a month went by, and I got a letter from the agent that he had talked about. Saying, why haven't I seen anything from you? And I was like, oh wow, he was actually serious. So I sent her the work that I had, just to see kind of what she would think. And she called me up and said, I actually like this and I would like to represent you. And I was like, okay. So I got represented by a pretty well-known name in the industry. And so this went on for about 6 months or so. And then I didn't hear it. I mean, she would constantly keep in communication with me. And then I didn't hear anything from her at all. And I was like, okay. Called her a couple of times, never got a response, never got anybody on the actual phone. And then I saw this one news article, because I think I Googled her name or something, and saw a news article saying she'd been in a horrific accident and injured her head, and I realized there were real problems. So I finally contacted her agency trying to find out, what was going on, and they said so many problems, she's not going to be looking at work anymore because the head injury was really bad. And so I didn't think anything of it and thought, okay, I'll have to find another agent. And as I was looking for other agents, I remember the Writer's Digest puts out this list of agents that are looking for to represent work, and sure enough, her name was in there. And so I thought, okay, this is kind of bizarre. And then I think it was in Writer's Digest magazine, saying that her agency was now representing work again, that like she'd gone through some problems and was now representing work again. So I sent off a letter to her, saying, what's going on? Am I still being represented? And the response I got from her was she didn't recognize who I was. And I went, okay, but I could send something to her and she would take a look at it. And so I sent her basically the same thing that she was representing before. And then she sent me a response back saying, I'm not really sure I could represent that, but thank you, and try somebody else. So that was my first agent. Didn't really give me a whole lot of confidence in the whole agent organizations. I'll probably be looking for another one soon, but right after this happened, the whole Amazon thing happened, where Amazon decided to sell the Kindle, and basically the whole publishing industry just kind of collapsed on itself. And so, again, like I said, I'll probably be trying for another agent, but it gets really frustrating when you've had one. Everything seemed to be going fine, because she was about to try to represent my second book that I had sent her, and just nothing happened. So hopefully the next time around things are better. I kind of like stopped writing for a little while because I got really frustrated with the whole industry, but I'm back to writing again, so hopefully things turn around.